Okay, if you don't know me, my name is Sam, and I help people break free from doubt, fear, and stagnation, the invisible forces that hold them back, but not how you might think. But before we get started, I want to give you something that can instantly shift your momentum. Go to mysuccessoffer.com and get free access to a simple framework that helps you break free from doubt, fear, and stagnation, so you can take bold, confident action toward your goals. It's not fluff. It's real, practical, and it works. Clients come to me because they want real momentum, not just motivation. And even though they're smart, driven, and have so much potential, they tell me they still wake up wondering why they're not further along. And they tell me they feel lost in their own potential, like they should be further ahead by now, but something invisible keeps pulling them back. They feel frustrated, not because they haven't tried, but because they've tried everything: the books, the habits, the mindset hacks, and still wake up with that quiet ache that says, I know I'm meant for more, but why can't I get there? They feel tired of pretending to have it all together while battling self-doubt in silence. They're driven, capable, and full of ideas, yet stuck in a loop they can't seem to break. And I tell them, it's not because you're broken, lazy, or lacking discipline. It's because no one ever taught you how to reprogram the invisible patterns running beneath the surface, the ones that quietly sabotage your progress while you're busy trying to think positive or push harder. Real change doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from learning how to shift your inner world so your outer world finally starts to match the vision you've been carrying inside for years. By the way, if something I've said so far is hitting home for you, don't wait until the end. Head over to mysuccessoffer.com. There's a free training there that goes deeper into this process and shows you exactly how to build real momentum, even if you felt stuck for years. Let me tell you a story. In the labyrinthine streets of Fez, Morocco, where past and present blur into one seamless scroll of time, a traveler named Elias met a man who changed how he thought about identity. The man sold copper lanterns in a corner stall tucked away in the old Medina. His fingers were worn, strong, and soot-stained from years of flame and metalwork. But it wasn't his craftsmanship that stayed with Elias. It was something the man said when asked if he'd always been a lantern maker. He looked up, smiled slowly, and said, "No one is always anything. We become what we repeat." That phrase echoed in Elias's mind long after Morocco. It followed him through winding train rides in Italy, across mountain villages in Peru, and through quiet temples in Kyoto. Because in that one moment, the lantern maker had put into words what so many overlook: that identity isn't a fixed inheritance. It's a living, changing design. And if it can be designed, it can be redesigned. Today, we're not journeying through cities, but through the story of the self. Not the self as it appears in your passport or social media bio, but the self that determines your choices when no one's watching. The inner architecture that decides what you say yes to, what you say no to, what you believe you're capable of, and what you silently disqualify yourself from before you even try. This is the inner game, the one most people never consciously play, and yet it plays them. It's the quiet current beneath habits, self-talk, decisions, and hesitations. And if identity is destiny, then the greatest journey you can take isn't across borders, but inward, not toward becoming someone else, but toward becoming someone on purpose. So let's begin. In nearly every culture, there are spoken and unspoken scripts about who you're supposed to be. In America, it might be the high achiever. In Scandinavia, the humble equal. In Japan, the devoted worker. In India, the respectful child. From the moment people are born, they're issued roles like passports: student, son, daughter, success story, black sheep. They wear them without questioning the stitching. And by the time adulthood arrives, many confuse the role with the soul. But here's the quiet tragedy. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they're living an identity that no longer fits or never truly belonged to them in the first place. There's a story of a woman named Mira who was traveling from Berlin to Prague. In her 40s, brilliant but burnt out. Her job, corporate consultant. Her dream, abstract painting. She admitted, almost apologetically, "But I'm not the kind of person who just quits their job to paint." Someone nearby asked her, "What kind of person is?" She had no answer, because her identity wasn't rooted in possibility. It was chained to history. Imagine identity like a loop. Thoughts become beliefs, beliefs shape behavior, and behavior reinforces identity. And the longer the loop runs, the deeper the groove. If someone believes they're the kind of person who always procrastinates, they'll act that way. Then, when they do procrastinate, they confirm what they believed. This is how identity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the opportunity. If a belief created it, a new belief can recreate it. There's a story of Luca, a young apprentice learning the art of winemaking in the hills of Tuscany. When asked how he learned his craft, he said, "You don't just learn it, you become it." The vines teach you season by season. That's identity. Not an instant decision, but a seasonal one, a gradual becoming. And every season spent in a new pattern plants a new root. So if you want to change your destiny, change the root, not just the fruit. Start at the level of identity. Redesigning identity isn't about pretending, it's about practicing. A writer isn't born the day a book is published. They become a writer the moment they sit down and write with intention. Confidence doesn't arrive when fear disappears. It begins the moment you act despite it. Every habit adopted is a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. Cast enough votes and the mind begins to align with the behavior. There's a monk in Chiang Mai who shares a powerful practice. Every morning, he asks himself 3 questions. 1. Who am I becoming based on yesterday? 2. Is that aligned with who I want to be? 3. What tiny act of integrity can I take today to close the gap? The monk doesn't have a following. He has no brand, but he is one of the most powerful people those who meet him ever encounter. Because he lives with inner clarity. He doesn't chase identity, he cultivates it. Of course, any talk of change must confront resistance. Resistance says, stay small, stay known, stay predictable. In Istanbul, there's a story of a man named Kemal, an architect by profession, but a poet at heart. When asked why he hadn't pursued poetry, he said, "My father was a builder. I am a builder." And just like that, the past became a prison. The truth is, the greatest resistance often comes not from the outside world, but from the inner one. Our own minds are the first to doubt us. So what can be done? Name the resistance. Notice when it shows up. Speak to it, not with anger, but with understanding. I see you fear. I hear you, doubt. But today I choose something bigger than you. Identity doesn't shift like lightning. It shifts like a train easing out of a station. At first, you barely notice the movement. Then, momentum builds. Remember Mira on the Berlin train? She eventually did quit her job, not in a dramatic movie scene way. She started painting for 20 minutes before work, then 40. Then she showed at a weekend art fair. Then came a commission. Now she teaches art retreats in Portugal. She didn't leap, she layered. So if you're waiting to feel ready before you change who you are, you may wait forever. Readiness is a result, not a prerequisite. The moment you act, the self begins to shift. All over the world, people want the same thing, not to escape their lives, but to escape the identities that limit them. You are not your past. You are not your job title. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are not the expectations someone placed on you before you knew you could choose. You are what you practice. You are what you embody. And you become what you repeatedly do with intention. So the next time you feel stuck, don't ask, "What should I do?" Ask instead, "Who am I becoming by doing this?" Because identity is not a cage, it's clay. And destiny? That's just identity, practiced over time. Thanks for joining this inner journey. If something in this story stirred something in you, maybe it's your future self trying to get your attention. You don't need to leap, you just need to begin. So the main thing is to focus on who you are becoming, not just what you're doing, because identity shapes behavior, and behavior shapes destiny. And one thing that's always really helpful is to start with small, consistent actions that align with your desired identity, because every habit is a vote for the person you want to become. And if you're really serious about creating lasting change, not just watching another video, but actually transforming the way you think, act, and move through life, then go to mysuccessoffer.com. You'll get immediate access to a breakthrough method that's already helped thousands shift out of survival mode and into unstoppable progress. If you're done playing small, this is where it starts. Until next time, keep walking with intention.